Well, hello out there again in Friendship Village land. This is your voice of Friendship Village coming at you in our beautiful studio. Thank you, Mary. Mary's here, of course, at my side, my able helper, and just keeps me on track. That's all. And we have a special guest today, as we always do. All of our guests are special because they just are, because they're part of Friendship.
That's what we choose. We choose special guests.
We only choose special guests. That's right. So Mary will introduce her in just a few moments. But before we go on, we want to mention our sponsor for this podcast, and it is the Child Care Center, or known also as something about a village. What is it?
It takes a village. Childcare.
It takes a village. Yeah. I mean, there's a saying that says it takes a village to raise a
child.
Mm-hmm.
To raise a child.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That was by Mrs. Clinton wrote that book.
Yes.
Mrs.
Clinton.
Mm-hmm. Really?
It takes a village, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like the wife of our president, Clinton?
Yes,
Oh.
I read it.
You read it?
I read her book. I might even have it.
Well, I didn't know that. Okay. So it is then our sponsor, the daycare center, and we're fortunate to have Mary with us, who is a regular grandmother, quotes, a regular grandmother at the daycare center, and enjoys the work very much. Mary, could you say a few more words about the daycare center?
We have a bus that takes a group of people over there on Wednesday mornings from 10:30 to 11:30, and we're called the Grandmas and Grandpas. And we go over and we go to the different rooms that the children are in, all the way from the babies up through 5 years old. And we can go into any room we want. We can go into one or more rooms and intermix with the children. They love to see the grandmas and grandpas come, and the teachers like us to come because we the children gravitate to us. It gives the teachers a little bit of free time to do a couple little things that they want to do.
Okay.
So it's very rewarding for the people that go. We wish more people would take advantage of it. But you've got to love the children. That's the main focus. Yes. You've got to love being with children, working with children. And if that's not your forte, then you don't have to do it. But I love doing it.
Okay, good. There we are. What a testimony. Thank you, Mary. And so next on our agenda, let me just share a quick joke, if I could. So it's a joke about a pastor who was out hunting one day. And so he wasn't having much success, didn't even see any critters to capture. So he went to the side of the river to just kind of rest on a big old log and see if he wanted to continue. And about that time he looked out and he saw a mammoth bear, a brown bear. He was just gargantuan in size. And he looked over and he got, uh-oh, what's happening? And so he said, "Oh, Lord, please help me here with this bear. I sure hope he doesn't want me for dinner." And so the bear finally spied the pastor and set out to just run like lickety-split to get to him. And the pastor said, "Oh, Lord, please help me. Why don't you make the bear a Christian? That'll help me." And right at that moment, the bear stopped in his tracks, and he bowed his head and he said, "Thank you, Lord, for the meal I'm about to receive."
Very good.
Very good.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we have a good meal today. We're going to have a great guest. And Mary, why don't you go ahead and introduce our guest.
All right, our
Vivian.
guest. Yes, our guest today is Vivian Mabry, and she is assistant director at the Child Care Center right across the street from Friendship Village. And it was established 4 or 5 years ago, maybe?
About 4 years
About
ago.
4 years ago. And we've had a number of people over there that we've gotten acquainted with, plus all the children, plus all the caregivers, and it's just a wonderful place to take your child and know that they're in secure hands and that they're learning. This is the best place for these little children to start learning. And Vivian will fill us in on more of that as we move along. So we'll start out with Vivian's history. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Durant, Mississippi. I was born in Durant, Mississippi.
Okay.
And you went to school there.
I went to school in Durant, Mississippi. I graduated from Jackson State University with a background in accounting. Childcare came later on.
All right, all right.
And later on, I moved to Iowa, where I went to Hawkeye Community College.
Mm-hmm.
And from there to UNI.
Okay.
And from there, I went back to school to Virginia Tech and majored in physician assistance.
Okay.
But as I said, the child care came in between there.
All right. You've always had a love for children.
Always.
Did you have a lot of brothers and sisters?
I have 4.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 sisters and 1 brother.
Okay.
But I grew up in a big family. We lived with my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of my cousins and everybody lived there also.
Okay.
But I was the oldest. So I've always been in charge.
Oh, that's good.
So you're used to taking charge of
I'm used to taking charge.
different age levels of people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So along the way, you met your husband?
Along the way, I met my husband. I've been married 34 years. I have 3 kids, 2 daughters and a son, and I have 5 grandchildren now.
And does your family live around here?
All of them live here in Waterloo.
Good, good.
Oh, wow. That's great.
That's nice.
Yes.
You can
Yeah.
see them, be with them.
I enjoy them. And I
Right.
get to do all the things that I always wanted to do as a I really always wanted to be like a grandparent because you get to do all the fun things, the craft, and have them over. And so, I always
You weren't
had-
too excited about parent, but
No,
grandparent.
not grandparent.
Grandparent
yes.
is fun.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, grandparenting.
Grandparent is a lot better.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because they'll go home.
They'll go home.
Yeah, right.
So then you had other jobs first before you got into the child care?
Yes, I started off as I would say a room mom at the school. I started volunteering. From there, I went to Head Start, and I did a volunteer there as assistant to the director.
Mm-hmm.
And through there, I got a lot of training from Head Start. From Head Start, I went on to become a teacher in one of the classrooms. I did a summer program.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I was walking down the street and one of the board members said, "Vivian, I've been looking for you. Where have you been?" Like, "I've been at home." He said, "I have a job for you. Are you interested in being the director of the daycare center?" He said, "You did such a good job during the summer."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yes." He said, "Well, the interview is tomorrow." And I'm like, "I don't have time to prepare." He said, "No problem, just come in."
Yeah.
And I was the director of Lily Ferguson.
Ah.
I had 125 children and maybe 30 staff
Where is that located?
here in Waterloo, Iowa,
Okay.
nonprofit child care center.
Okay.
And I did really good there. I left there and I became a supervisor at the psychiatric unit for children, ages 5 through 18. And I worked there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Then I became a out-of-school youth coordinator, where I would find you if you dropped out of school. My job was to locate you and offer you different opportunities to get you back on the right track. So either I could send you to school, I can send you to a skills school, or I can just kind of help you like focus on your goals. And my job was to check back in with you. I would normally check on them at 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. If you're still doing good in a year, then I feel like I'm able to cut you loose.
Good.
Wow.
So you want success stories.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I would follow you and check in from time to time and be like, "Hey, Mike, your job coach said you haven't been to work in a while. What's going on? How can I help you?"
Mm-hmm. Very good. You're a very compassionate person, I can tell that. And what did your husband do for a career?
He was a radio announcer.
Radio announcer, okay.
Yes. In Nyack. And so I met him when he was at radio announcer at college. And from there, he always was in the entertainment, whether it was broadcasting something downtown Waterloo or having an event. And later on, we had a restaurant. So we put together a barbecue restaurant together.
Okay.
And so, always in the entertainment.
He liked that.
He loved that.
Mm-hmm.
I bet he knows a joke or two. Huh?
Yes, he does.
All right.
So now is he working?
Now he's working at John Deere's.
Okay.
Yep. We're going to let all the business go, and he's just working.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Well, he's working into a retirement plan there.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
That's very, very good. So when did you start here at the daycare?
I started here about 3 years ago.
Okay.
I heard about they were opening up this new child care center, and I knew Susie,
Mm-hmm.
that was the director here. I had known her through the child care field for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was interested in coming over. What drew me here was the idea that it was Christian, it was faith-based.
Right.
And so I came over and I saw that, hey, Susie's here. And I just really wanted to help her
Good.
making a success.
So are you in the field of hiring people too? Is that part of your job?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I do some of the hiring. I mostly work with the staff and the supervisor on the floor.
Okay.
Okay.
But it's a labor of love. And childcare job is not for everyone.
No.
It's
Yeah.
not for everyone. Yeah.
It
But-
takes a lot of interviewing and a lot of negotiating to get the right people in
To
there.
get the right people.
You have to find out if the people you're interviewing really do have a love of children.
A love of children. But I think it's the best job you can have, because for me, you can leave all your problems at the door. You can get paid to dance and play and finger paint, and it's just it's a lovely job. You're not making boxes, you're not on an assembly line, but it's a job that you can just really be happy all day.
Mm-hmm. And you can wipe their little tears away when
you
they
can
have a
wipe-
bad time, and
And they think you're heroes.
Mhm. And they look forward to seeing you every day. That's what you want. I think that's the key to it. When these children come in the door, they are happy to see you.
Yes, they are.
Because that's going to be their main place that they're going to be. I don't want to say their home, but it kind of is
It's their
like a
home away from home.
Right. From early morning until afternoon or evening a lot of times.
A lot of time, because by the time they get home in the afternoon, they're really just having supper and going to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's their home away from home.
Right. Right.
And I want it to feel like it's their home away from home.
And you only have 5 years to
Yes.
mold and shape them.
Correct.
And then they go on to the next step of their lives.
Those 5 years are so important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They
So you
are.
have some that come there as an infant.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
they get the tiny, tiny
We
ones.
get the tiny, tiny ones. They come in at 6 weeks
Okay.
and they leave at 5. But within that time span, what we do is so important,
Uh-huh.
because, you shape their outlook on the world. Either they can see the world as a cold, dark place, or they can see the world as a loving, warm place.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned that one of the things that drew your attention to this program was the idea that it was Christian based.
Yes.
So could you say a little bit more about that?
All the other places that I worked in before, you really couldn't pray at the table, or you really couldn't bring in religion, because, religion and state was always supposed to be separate.
Yeah.
And so here you can, and there you can say grace at the table. You can teach them grace. And all other religions are welcome. But, before, like I said, it was always separate, and you couldn't even say anything about it.
Yeah.
But here you can.
You couldn't say anything in the other places for fear that a parent might be upset.
Yes, and that was the policy. So you don't say anything,
Yeah.
and you don't
Okay.
say grace, or you don't mention anything.
Yeah. Okay.
But here you can.
And here you
I think
can.
that's wonderful. I didn't know that. I absolutely did not know
Yeah.
that part of it.
Yep, it
But
is. And
I
so,
see. When we leave on the days that we're there, we leave as the dinner is being brought
Yes.
in. So we don't get to see the children sit down.
And
The
say the
table
grace.
is set for them, but they're over in the corner talking to the teacher as some of the other caregivers are setting the table and getting it ready for them. So we don't actually see them sit down and say the grace.
And
So
say
that
the
would be
grace.
interesting
Yes.
to hear them say their grace before they eat.
Yes. And it's every day.
We hope they go home and practice that at home.
Yes.
Especially the older ones
Sure.
that are learning it.
So that was one of the things, like I said, it was a faith-based program, and you could talk about it.
Well, and we can practice that here too, because before a lot of our programs and before we always have our pastor, our chaplain, offers a prayer before and after our meetings or our gatherings, and that we can do that. We can do that, and I think it's great. And we have our prayer services here and all that, so.
I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, I do too. We can bring different religions in to do different things. So.
And like now, we're some of the people over there are celebrating Ramadan. And so if you notice in the hallway, there's candles and different things on the doors for Ramadan. And so
That's
I like that.
That's
like
neat.
that.
I'll have to be more alerted to that.
Right.
Yeah, anything that comes along that they can celebrate.
yes,
Yeah, and I think they enjoy coming over once a month to the terrace
they
to
love
do
it.
their little programs over there. I missed the one yesterday because I had an outside appointment, and I really wanted to come, but sometimes you can't do that.
And they were so excited because the first grandmom they saw, they're like, "There's a grandma!"
Yeah,
And so they always get so excited.
I know when they see the grandparents.
And one of the parents told me yesterday, she said I had to explain to her that it's not your grandmother, but she said, but it is my grandmother
It's your grandmother at the daycare.
at the daycare.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And we love being called grandma and grandpa. You know,
Probably anybody with silver hair is a grandma or a grandpa.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They know that. They get excited when we come and go to the door and open the door to come in. There's a grandma and grandpa's, there's a grandma and grandpa's. And if they don't come, if one particular one doesn't come, where are they? Where are they today?
And they look forward to the ones that come all the time because they get to know them, and then they'll
Yes.
be like, "That's my grandpa right
Yeah,
there."
that's right. They can hold them and read to them and talk to
Yes.
them. It is so much fun. So much fun. And the teacher I'm with, I always express, I'm so glad the day that you come, because it gives me a little relief.
They get a breather.
Right. Right. Oh. Yeah, it's a wonderful place. We're so glad that Friendship Village came up with that plan to have it. You know,
The
and build it.
intergenerational, where they can visit each other. And I'm hoping as the weather get better to see more grandparents sitting on the benches and just come over whenever they want to come over.
Mhm.
And so I'm hoping to see that, or maybe to do a little gardening with the kids, or to
Yeah.
do some plantings on the outside, or crafts or something for the playground.
Well, and this podcast might help a little bit.
Okay.
People get interested, we hope.
Yeah.
And I think some more people, when they bring them over to the terrace, more of the residents come there to see them. They don't necessarily come to the child care center, but they come over there to see the kids perform and do what they want to do. So it just takes a while for them to get interested.
And they love to perform for the grandma.
Yes, they do.
Granddad.
They love to perform.
Yes, they do.
Love to do their little things. That's right.
Most kids would love that, yes.
Mm-hmm. There's a little performer in all of us.
Yes.
Well, as you've been enjoying the conversation so far, we want to reiterate that this podcast is being brought to you by the daycare center across the street, and we hope those who might have even a little bit of interest would someday on Wednesday go over on the bus or walk over and join in the activities, get to know some of the kids, and we know for sure, I would know for sure because I've heard stories about how easily the kids relate to the
Yes.
grandparents.
Yes.
They're eager to see them, and they enjoy their company. So
And it's not that you have to go on Wednesdays. You can go anytime you
Anytime.
want. You're welcome there. You know, when I had a car and I was able to get over there myself, I would pick an afternoon and I would call first and say, "Can I come over?" "Oh, sure, sure." So then I just go over on my own, and maybe I'd go down to the baby room and rock some babies for a while, or I'd go into one of the rooms and but you can go on your own time. It's not you have to go. Don't have to go specifically on Wednesdays when they take the bus, but you can. I know a couple that goes over sometimes, just a man and wife, and they go when their time allows them, and they can
your time
go
allows.
to the different rooms and play with the kids.
Okay.
And they give great hugs. I'll tell you a story of the one lady, one grandparent that came. I think she was having some type of issues with speech, and they wanted her to be able to speak more, so she wanted to come in and read a book. And we told her, you can come in at any time and read. But one of the little kids just gravitated towards her. And so when she was getting ready to go, she kept turning back, and she'll run to her, and she'll just wrap her arms around the grandmom and hug her. And she'll run back, and then she'll look back at her, and she'll just run back and hug. And I saw tears coming down. And so the whole staff was just had tears because it was so touching that every time the little girl turned away, she would look back over her shoulder and see the grandmama, and she would just run back like, just one more, just one more for you.
Didn't want her to leave.
Didn't want her to leave,
Wow.
but it was so touching.
Yeah.
So I think it's beneficial for both of them.
It is. Oh, it's very beneficial. Yeah.
Yeah.
You come away from there and it's fun. And they give you little things once in a while. Yesterday they had their paintings that they had been working on. And even though I couldn't come, they had a painting for me and brought it up here. And I posted it out here on the hallway. So, and I was there witnessing them making a lot of that stuff. So you never know what they're going to do with it, but they made it as a gift for us. And that's always fun too.
Yeah. So, what are some of your? We've shared a little bit some of your plans for the daycare. How about how you want to expand or provide more of this or that?
Right now we have a partnership with Mercy One. And so we're looking at expanding some of the late afternoon hours. And another thing that I like about the Child Care Center, it really caters towards the community, allowing them to go later in the afternoon if need be.
Yeah.
Because that was the goal that they said before, is to have extended child care, which is so needed in the community.
Okay.
And so just to extend the hours.
Okay.
We have another infant room that we're working on currently to accept more infant because there's such a need for infant care.
Okay.
And so we have a long wait list for infants. And so
Really?
we're currently working on that.
Okay.
Hopefully to be up and running maybe by May.
Oh, good.
Yeah, really soon.
Yeah.
Good.
So
And I know these parents that have these babies are always looking for a good child care center to take care of them. And even though they want to raise their family, they have to work for an income also.
Yes.
But they want their child to be taken care of while they're working.
In a safe and quality place. And we also allow them the options of coming in if you're breastfeeding or just want to come in for lunch. We have an open door policy for parents.
Oh, good.
And so they can just come in and visit or feed them.
And some of the employees have children there
And
too.
some of the employees have children there. So it's a really, really good place.
It's a family place.
It's a family place. Even for the staff, one of the staff told me, she said, I would have been gone a long time ago, but you guys are like my family. And she said, I've never felt that before. And she said, I feel like you guys are family. I can come in and I can cry with you. I can talk to you about what's going on in my personal life. And I feel like you guys are my family.
That's a good feeling. Wonderful. That way you'll keep your employees longer too.
Yes. We don't really have a high turnover.
That's good.
Some of our people are in college, and so, of course, their careers take them in different directions.
Right.
But we don't really have a high turnover.
I think you've hired more people too, haven't you?
Yes.
So that you can, more people you hire, the more children that you can acquire too.
Correct.
Right. That's wonderful.
So there might be a day when you'll be looking at retirement.
Yes. I think I got a good 15 years left in me.
Okay.
Well, that's good to know. That's good.
I have a good 15 years left in me.
All right.
But I probably will always be in child care.
Yeah.
I'll finish up in child care, and I'm known as Miss Vivian, and some of my kids that I had when they were maybe 10 years ago, I'll see them now, and they're adults, and I'm still Miss Vivian to them. And
Right.
I have some over at the daycare that I had in daycare, but
Yeah.
now I have their kids over at the daycare.
Right.
Okay.
And
Wow.
so I'll still be in child care for another 15.
That's good.
About another 15.
Good to know.
Well, now your kids are old enough; they're outside of the home.
They're
I mean,
outside of the home.
Okay, but they're all in the area here.
They're all in the area, and I get
So-
to see my grandkids a lot.
Okay.
And I enjoy, like I said, doing the activities, all the grandmothery things, because you can spoil them and then, they go back home.
Right.
Or if there's a dirty diaper, you can just
You could just
give them back.
pass them off. But I so enjoy the children because, like I said, just to watch them develop. And you can, for me, I can pretty much see their personality at about 2 or 3. So you can kind of get a feel for what they're going to be like as a teenager or an adult. And so it's an exciting job. It's the best job a person can have. The most happiest job, I could say.
Right.
Well, we're getting to the point where it's time to kind of wind down.
I know. This has been so much fun.
Yeah.
Visiting about the children.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing to do.
It just makes you smile.
Yeah.
Just thinking about them just makes you smile.
You bet.
You
And I never met a bad kid. In all the 30-some years that I've been doing childcare, whether it was at the psych unit, the school, or whatever, there's children with challenging, but I've never met a bad one.
Good.
I never
We
met a
need
bad
more
kid.
people like that. We need more people like you.
I met challenging ones.
Yes.
That you got to come at a different angle, maybe.
Right,
But
right.
I've never met a bad kid.
That's wonderful. It's a good testimonial.
Yeah. Very good.
We just wish some of these children or adults that are going the wrong way would have had a better upbringing by child care people. And then maybe we would have less crime.
True.
But
Because as we were talking before the interview, those 0 to 5 is so important because it shapes your outlook for the future.
that's right. They're
If
the
you got-
formative years, as they call
Yes,
them.
yes, they are. And if you got quality child care and you provide them everything that they need, no matter, sometimes they go astray, but as long as the foundation is good,
Right.
then they know the right direction because you got a good
Sure.
foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, this has been most interesting. Thank you for being here, Vivian.
Thank you so
We've
much for
enjoyed it.
having me.
So we're going to close, and as we often do, we're going to close with this thought. May the good Lord bless and keep you till we meet once again. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.